Hello. This is an extension called Step Counter for Fantasy Grounds. Um, in order to use this extension, you have to install another extension called Walk This Way, which is free. Okay, so the main thing this extension does is it keeps track of how far you've moved in a turn, or how far a creature has moved in a turn. So I'm going to show you on this bandit. So first off, you'll notice that it leaves a little marker for where the bandit started, and it shows how far away the bandit is from that marker. Now, let's say I want to move this bandit around this little foresty area, um, and I want to measure how far that is. Um, so I'm going to open the speed window for the bandit. The way I do that is I double click the speed in the combat tracker. If it's a um, player character, I double click the speed on the main tab of the player character sheet. Okay, so once I've moved the bandit where I want him to go, I hit the traveled button. It makes a little arrow. It also makes another marker. So I'm going around this forest, right? So I'm going to keep hitting traveled each time I want him to turn. And voila. Okay, so let's say I made a mistake. I don't like where I made that last turn. I can hit undo last step. And a little tighter turn. Or let's say I don't like the whole thing. I can start over, just spam undo last step, back where you started. Um, now, you can make hotkeys out of these buttons. So I'm going to put traveled on F6 here, undo last step on F7. So now I can pick up this bandit and just hit F6. And then hit F7 to undo it all. Boom, 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 boom. Now another way you can do that is, before I move to that, now with this hotkey that I've made, it is specifically for Bandit 1, but as long as I'm carrying a token, it'll work for whatever token I'm carrying. So right now I'm carrying the Bandit, so it doesn't make any difference. But let's say I carry Durin Stonefist here. I'm using the same F6 button, and it's working on him because I was carrying him. So now I want to erase all this data. There's two ways I can do that. I can pass turn. Well, I'll get back to that in a moment here. So I pass turn. All this data is erased. And then, okay, so the last way you can do that. So you'll notice these four buttons here on the image window are new. They're made by Step Counter. These first two buttons, the suitcase and the little like undo arrow looking thing, those are both player and GM side. The suitcase is the traveled button, and it's going to work on whichever token you have selected. So if I move, right now I have the bandit selected, I move him over, I hit the suitcase, and it does a traveled. If I hit the undo, he's still selected, it undoes. These last two buttons are GM side only. I'll come back to this button. This little broom looking thing, clear all movement indicators. So this does the same thing as passing turn, except without having to pass a turn. So let's make some indicators here. If I hit the broom, everything goes away. Okay, now let's say I'll get back to that last button. Actually, no, I'll do the last button now. Okay, so let's say, so right now, if you look at Bandit 1 speed, it is 30, so his max speed is 30. Now, if we look at the adult black dragon, if you notice, he has several speeds. So he's got 40 feet walk, 80 feet fly, 40 feet swim. Now, Fantasy Grounds doesn't know that this is swimming and this is flying and this is walking. These are just drawings, right? There's no data behind them. So what I've done is I've set the max speed to whatever the highest speed of that creature is. I'm going to reset everything again. So if you click this button, which you can also get to in the options, you open up the options here. Okay, enforce movement limitations. Right now it's off. I can either turn it on here, or I can hit this button up here that looks like a little chain. So I'm going to turn it on here. I like this button better. And also, you can drag these. You can drag any option onto your hotkey bar, by the way. Okay, so now that I've enforced movement limitations, if I try to move this bandit further than 30 feet, it won't let me. So now he can only go 30 feet because that's his maximum. And also you can see that it's indicated by 30 of 30, or it's 17 and a half out of 30. By the way, this is all rounded to half a grid square, which if you're in feet, that's 2.5 feet. All right, so that's that button. So that's all the buttons. Now another way you can move your character, let's turn movement limitation off. It's just easier to test. So here's this option called, and this is per user, this one, it's not just GM, applied to everybody. Movement create step at the end of each token drag. So right now it's off, let's turn it on. So now instead of having to hit a button, basically anytime I let go of the token, it's just going to make a step. So now I'm just letting go. Not hitting any buttons, I just move it and let go, and it makes a step. So that's another way of doing things. I personally would rather hit a button, but to each his own. Okay. That cover. Oh, another important thing that on the GM side. So let's say my bandit's here, and let's say he, I don't know, misty steps, or there was some mistake, and I want him on the other side of this forest. And I don't want to like use up his movement, like this, or like fly him over the top of the forest like this. I want him to like just be there like a teleport. So what I do is I hold shift and I drag him over there, and you can see it says start, but there's no arrow. And if you look, it also says start here because he hasn't moved at all. It hasn't counted any of the any movement. So I can make that more apparent by doing this. Let's say I move him a little bit, 15 feet, and then misty step. Hold shift, drag him over there. So it shows where he started, and then move him again. It shows where he finished. See, 15 feet, 15 feet. And now he's at 27 and a half. So yeah, that's how you do that. And that's the same way you get a token to another map, or let's say you're using an extension like portals or something like that. Portals, everything will happen automatically, but let's say you're moving him to another map. So let's say he moves over here, and then, I need to move him over this other map. Hold shift, drag him over there, let go. It's going to show how far he moved before he quote unquote teleported, and then it shows the new location, and then you can move him. You can keep moving him as if that's part of his whole movement shtick. So that is that. The last thing I'm going to show you, there's a bunch of other things I've got going on here. So I've written this so also it supports hex, and if you're on a map that's in miles, so let's say, let me move this stuff over. If you look at the settings on a map, it's the grid settings. So this little like apostrophe thing, it stands for feet. If you've got this set to miles, it's going to say, oh, you're not on a turn-based thing going on. This isn't a battle map. This is a travel map. So it'll automatically, if you have it on, turn off or it just won't function, the movement limitations, and it's going to show everything in miles or whatever you have there. Um, well, no, just miles. Um, and then, but let's get away from that for a second and go back to whatever, whatever you, if you have this set to, basically I've got it so it will recognize three kinds of units. There's feet, there's meters, and then there's tiles. Whatever this is set to, it knows that you've set it to that. And then there's a setting here that's per user, which is how do you prefer to see your units. So let's say this map is in feet, but I set this to meters. Uh, meters. It's going to show in meters, and it's going to automatically translate for you. I don't know how many people are going to be using meters, but tiles seems pretty cool, right? Like if you're doing on a grid-based thing, um, so you could say, oh, I moved 2 tiles, I moved 3 tiles, 5 tiles. Um, so it'll automatically do the math for you. Um, what else does this sucker do? I think that about covers it. You may have noticed this live movement tracking thing. Um, that's for another day. That doesn't work super well. It's laggy and breaks stuff. You guys probably aren't interested in that. Hopefully we can get that to work some other day. But if you want, it's there. You can play with it. Um, yeah, I think that covers everything. Thank you very much.